How you're doing, maple fans? So here we have Palmatum Ginja. I'm going to be air layering this tree today. As you can tell, it's a variegated type. It's in its full glory at the moment. Still a bit of wind going on today, but yeah, you've got a lot of interest with this tree. Obviously there's the pink going through the small palmate green leaves. You've also got the bark interest as well. You'll have pink striations going through that bark, illuminating it. It just looks incredible. That's from some angles, I suppose. So I just wanted to give you all a look at it. Because this isn't the most common tree. You won't get this in your local garden centre. Now, let's zoom out. I've got a junction here, and we've got, well, you can see, yeah, look at the candy stripe there. See, that's that bark interest that I'm talking about. You can see it on both sides there and there. So as I was saying, you've got a junction here where you've got three main branches. So I want to get rid of one, but rather than wasting it, I'll rather propagate and reproduce. So I'm going to air layer this middle branch here, and then it's going to become a twin trunk. But you know what, I might even, looking at it, this is just with my bonsai vision again. I look at a lot of things with my bonsai eyes. I like the way that the trunk is moving like this, and if it was to kind of move off like this and just kind of be like that can be the leader branch there, and I could air layer these two. But, you know, I'll do one at a time. There's nothing stopping me from doing the other one in the future. So I'll stick with my original plan for now. And now it's just deciding where to do it. I'm probably going to do it about here, and I'll get something to pull this branch out to give me the space that I need to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it and make a start. Okay, so before I actually start, I'm going to show I was just using a knife, like a normal Stanley blade. Some call it box cutter, depending where you're from. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut between this node here, no wider than the width of the trunk really. So kind of, yeah, like a nearly 2 centimeters. And I'm going to strip the cambium off. Obviously I've cleaned all of my tools with alcohol that I'm going to use. I've wiped this down with alcohol as well. This is some moss that I'm going to use is really high quality. It's looking really healthy. Just going to use normal rooting hormone powder. But yeah, I'm going to pause it, and once I've done the cut I will play it again and I'll show you the next part. Right, here we go. As you can see, there's a clear ring that I've cut out on the cambium. Now the next important part is you need to scrape the cells off. So if there's still a light green colour, you need to scrape that off until you get to the white part of the wood. If you do leave the cells there, then it will callus over and the gap will be bridged over with scar tissue and the roots won't produce. So you literally need to separate this section from this section, and when you scratch it off, I just used the edge of the knife, and that takes that all off. I've also scratched above. This is where the roots are going to come through. They won't come from this part, they're going to come from the top part. The roots will start coming out from here. So I've tapped it with the knife. You can see the scratch marks. This can help stimulate the roots to come through and promote the growth. The next part will be to apply the rooting powder, and I'm going to apply that just above here. It's all going to go above. I don't need to put any down here, just on this top part here. And there you go, I've applied some of the powder. So you have to spray that with some water so it will stick, obviously. It's the first time I've used this type of powder. The other one I had before was like a white powder. This is more like a sand kind of consistency. So that's as much that I've got sticking on. I'm going to leave it at that. You can even air layer without rooting hormone, you know, if you get the correct conditions, so it's not essential. I'm going to go ahead and pause it and get the moss ready. This part is probably one of the trickiest parts. It's where you need more than two hands sometimes. You know, one hand's going to be trying to wedge this branch out of the way, and you're trying to hold the bag with the moss so it don't fall out. Then you've got to twist it at the bottom with a cable tie or something. Yeah, so I'm going to get that set up and I'll show you. So quickly before I apply it, I get half the amount of moss that I'm going to use and I place it in the bag that I've pre-cut to size. It's probably about 40 centimeters long by about 20 to 25 in height. That's just a rough guess. Then I'm going to literally press this probably on the higher part. So I'm going to press it against and I'm going to wrap it. So I need my other hand to move this branch out of the way. I'm just showing you that's what I'm doing. Okay, and there we are. And that is it. It's about the size of my hand. I've got quite a big hand. Just to give you a scope of the size of the moss ball. That should be more than enough room for the roots to grow. I've dated it as well. I've put the date on the bag just so I can keep track on the time of when I did it. And yeah, make sure the moss is moist and not wet. So you don't want it too wet and you don't want it dry either, so you want it moist before you tighten both ends. And just keep an eye out for the moisture of the moss over the weeks. and just make sure it's always moist and it doesn't dry out. Other than that, I mean, you're ready to go. Just wait till you start seeing roots. You see them start coming through the edges of the bag. So yeah, excited for this. Come on, let's go. Back in we go. I'm running out of room in here. 1 second. Wow. Right, there we go. There it is. So yeah, I'm gonna pull this out a little bit so that branch trying to think how I had this before. Hold on, bear with me, sorry. Oh, that was it. Got it. There you go. Now it's not all squashed up against the top of the polytunnel. The polytunnel, what am I saying? Yeah, I'm not going to do the spring walkthrough in here just yet, although things are looking really nice. This is the Aka Sugar Tatsu Sour. It would be almost disrespectful to not do a video of this while I'm still rolling. So here it is. So I've got one of these in the garden at home, and I've got one here as well. So let's see how they do. And I can't ignore this either. Again, I've got one of these in the garden at home. It's a Reticulatum Como. And I've got one here also. I like to do that if I've got more than one tree. I like to see the difference on how they perform in different environments. Clearly in a polytunnel you'll have more humidity and more of a warmer environment. So yeah, that is Reticulatum Como. The next job I'm going to do before I go home is repot this little fella. I've got the pot ready. It's going in one of the tall 3 litre pots. And yeah, it's outgrown this, to be honest. So yeah, this soil feels quite heavy as well. Yeah, I think it needs to be in better soil than it is currently in as well. So it's due a pot up. But yeah, I may as well include it. I'll pause it and I'll get in the pot. Oh, just so you know, in the bottom of this, you can see I've got pumice. I've got a thicker grade of pumice rock. in from this bag here. That's obviously to help with the drainage. Yeah, so that helps the water actually drain through the holes at the bottom. You don't want any maple sitting in any waterlogged soil, so yeah, it's always good to do that. It doesn't have to be pumice, that's just, to be honest, that's a bougie and expensive method of doing it. I'm just using it because it's there. There's plenty of other things you can do. You can get other rocks, or you know, smash up a terracotta pot or something. There's other ways you can do it, but I'm just using it because it's convenient and it's right there, and I haven't organised anything else, so that's what I'm doing. Anyways, on with getting this in there now. Okay, so here is the tree. I've just used a bamboo stick to pry the roots out gently. I haven't gone too crazy with it. I'm not gonna get every millimetre of soil out of the roots. I'm just gonna leave it as that and just trim off those ends there and get it in the pot. I don't want to do too much heavy root pruning at this stage. The leaves are starting to come out, so I don't want to cause too much stress on the tree. And once I do trim those down a bit, I'm going to top this up a bit more, and I'm going to put a bit of this fertilizer, mycorrhizal fungi, blah blah. It's a mycorrhizal fungi, and it's going to have a lot of root promoting benefits in there, and it's a feed as well. I think the NPK is something like 7, 10, something like that. But yeah, that's your nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium levels. I need to put this down somewhere. Yeah, so I'm going to go and get my pruners and I'll continue. Okay, so as you can see, I haven't done too much. Oh, there's one that's sticking up right there, hold on. There you go, that was going to bother me. Yeah, so that's there. I've got some of the plant food in there, the mycorrhizal fungi. I've put half of it in there. I've still got half on the spoon. The rest I will sprinkle over the top of the roots, like so. So that's got a nice good feed. And for this next part, I'm going to need my other hand, so I'll play it again in a minute. And there is the finished article. I've just topped the soil off with some pine chippings. That helps lock in the moisture. Yeah, so this is good to go for at least for another 2 years. And this is an unknown cultivar. Again, it's another one from Heron's Bonsai. It's his own kind. It's unnamed, so yeah, another one to evaluate. Yeah. But yeah, it's tempting to show the other trees, but I'm going to do a separate video for all of that, because this would soon turn into an hour-long video otherwise. So, anyways, take care, have a lovely day, see you all soon.